Hello everyone, to the students of Standard 11, welcome you to this class. We have been studying about political science chapter number 1. In the previous classes we have studied about what is a constitution, we have studied about the need of a constitution. In today's class we are going to discuss about the authority of our constitutions. Students, we have studied about what is a constitution, what are the function of a constitution. When we have studied about the function of a constitution or the need of a constitution, we have studied that constitution is a set of laws and principles. It provides the people of a country the rule and regulations by which the people of a country abide. It also distributes power among the organs of the government and makes the government to function properly, and therefore constitution does everything, provides everything for a country to run properly. Then the question comes, why we accept a constitution, what and from where does the constitution get this authority, where does this constitution get the power from, what makes a constitution a just constitution. So whenever a country has a constitution, we know that every country has a constitution. It could be written as well as unwritten. So whenever a country has a constitution provides a basic rules and principle and the laws for a country. Therefore whenever a constitution is there is a question also comes with that, what gives the authority to the constitution, what makes a constitution acceptable, why should the people of a country follow a constitution, and what makes a constitution just. So whenever there is a constitution, it also brings few questions along with this. The questions that what is a constitution, and the second question is how effective is a constitution, and the third one is a constitution just. So whenever there is a constitution, it also brings a set of questions that we need to answer, and whenever a constitution brings this question along with it, it also brings the answer. But when we go through the different thing of the constitutions, the different principles of the constitution itself gives answer to this question. So in today's class we are going to discuss about the authority of a constitution, what makes a constitution effective and what makes a constitution just. So let's begin these three questions. In today's class, I'm going to give you the answer of these three questions. I'm going to show you how a constitution is effective and how a constitution is just. So first question is, what is a constitution? Whenever we have a constitution, whenever a country follows a constitution, definitely the question is, what is a constitution? So a constitution can be defined as a set of laws and principles. Constitution provides a set of rules and regulation for a country, for the people of the country, for the government. So it is a book. As I have told you in the previous class, Constitution is a rule book. It is a book which contains a set of rules and regulation. It's a book which contains a set of laws and principles. But Constitution is not only a rule and regulation. Constitution is not only a book which contains some rule and regulation, but Constitution is more than that. Constitution provides basic principles for a country to govern. Basic principle, the government, basic principle for the people of a country. So it is not only a set of rule and regulation, moreover we can say it is a document. It specifies all about a country. It's a document which specifies all about a country. It specifies about the organ of the government. It specifies about the authority, about the power of the government. It also distributes the power among the organ of the government, among the power of the people. It also specifies about the duties and the rights of the citizen of a country. Therefore, Constitution is not only a book of rule and regulation, Moreover, it is a document which specifies all about a country, the different thing about a country, and therefore it makes a constitution effective. As I told you, it is a law and it is a set of laws and principles, and therefore a constitution can be written as well as unwritten. There are countries which have the constitution but unwritten, whereas the India, we have a written constitution. The second question is, how effective is a constitution? The second question is, how effective is a constitution? What makes a constitution acceptable? What makes constitution so effective? What gives the authority to to a constitution? What makes the constitution acceptable by the people of a country? And that is the second question. And the third question is a constitution just? Is a constitution just? When constitution provides the basic principles, rules and regulations for the people of the country, for the government of a country, can we say a constitution is a just? Because as we have discussed that every country has a constitution, whether it is a written or unwritten. But can we say that all the constitutions are right? All the constitutions are good? So to understand that whether a constitution is acceptable, whether a constitution is effective, whether a constitution is just, we have to go through certain answer which will make us to understand a constitution, and also will help us to understand whether a constitution is right, whether a constitution is acceptable, whether a constitution is just. So, is a constitution just? Does a constitution provides the facilities for the people of a country? Does it fulfill the aspirations, the goal of a society? So let us answer to this question. So whenever there is a question, whenever there is a constitution, there follows a set of questions. There remains this question. Always there is these questions about the constitution. So when we get the answer of these questions, definitely it helps us to understand whether a constitution is just, whether a constitution is effective or not. So the answer to these questions are, first of all, the mode of its promulgation. To understand the constitution, whether it is effective, whether it is good or bad, whether it is acceptable by the people, whether it is just or not, we have to go through the mode of its promulgation, the mode, the way the constitution came to us, the way constitution came to the people. So the way constitution was made and prepared and come to us. So that we are going to study in the next class, the mode of its promulgation. When we go through the mode of its promulgation, the way it was prepared, the way it came to us, the way constitution came to the people, we can definitely understand whether a constitution is effective, whether our Indian constitution is just and acceptable or not. The second answer is the substantive provision of a constitution. To understand whether a constitution is right, to understand whether a constitution is effective or just, we have to understand the substantive provision of a constitution. Does constitution have any provision for the people? Does the constitution fulfill the aspiration, the goals of the people of a country? So, to understand the effectiveness, the authority of constitution, whether the constitution is just or not, we have to understand the substantive provision, the provision of the Indian constitution for the people of the society. So what are the provision in a constitution, whether they are substantive or not? The third number is balanced institutional design. To understand the authority of a constitution, to understand whether constitution is just or not, we have to understand the balanced institutional design, how the constitution was designed, how the constitution was designed, how the power is distributed among the organ of the government, how the power is distributed among the people of the country. These all things we have to understand, and when we get the answer of these three questions, definitely we can conclude whether a constitution is just, whether a constitution is right, whether a constitution is effective or acceptable. So we are going to discuss these three things in the next class: the mode of its promulgation, the substantive provision of a constitution, and balanced institutional design. So when we study these three things, we will study in the context of Indian constitution to understand whether Indian constitution is effective, is acceptable, is just or not. To understand about the Indian constitution, we will study under the context of Indian constitution the mode of its promulgation, how Indian constitution came, and what are the substantive provision in the Indian constitution for the Indian society and for the Indian people, and the balanced institutional design, how the distribution of power is done by the Constitution of India. So that we are going to discuss in the next class. And today's for this, I hope you understood what is the authority of a constitution, how constitution gets its authority, how can we understand whether it is a constitution is effective or not, how can we understand whether a constitution is just or not. For that, we have to answer these three questions. When we get the answer of these questions, when we understand the modes of its promulgation, when we understand the substantive provision of a constitution, when we understand the institutional design of a constitution, the distribution of power of a constitution, definitely we can conclude whether a constitution is effective or not. So that's all for today. Thank you very much.